Great speeches come from the most ordinary people. I finally realized that. The process usually goes like this. You want to become better at public speaking, and you join Toastmasters International. Then you learn how to construct a good speech. You learn that first you have to find the needs of your audience. Then you have to construct an outline of your speech, followed by a great opening and a fantastic closing. Finally, you write the body of your speech with not more than 3 major points to make, correct? Now this provides a fantastic foundation for good speech writing, but it won't make you a great speaker. And what I'm about to share with you tonight isn't something that I read in a public speaking article. It didn't come from one source. It's actually the result of me studying great speakers and spending hours thinking about what is it that makes them what they are, great. And before I share that with you, I want to give you this tip. Speeches usually fall within 2 categories. Speeches that everybody will forget after the first week, and speeches that most people will remember a year later. When you sit down to construct your speech, constantly think about whether people will remember your speech a year from now. And here's where my discovery comes. Great speakers possess 2 common traits. And you're not going to hear about them in speeches. You most likely are not going to read about them in public speaking articles, because they're somewhat difficult topics to talk about and discuss, for not other reason but the fact that they're kind of personal. The first one of these common traits is all great speakers project vulnerability. What does that mean? How do you project vulnerability? You tell a great story. A story that has the potential to move your audience. A story that shows them you're just a real person, just like them. You have your own weaknesses, you have your doubts, you have your worries. They want to know that a real human is speaking with them, to them, and not a Superman or a Superwoman. I'm going to take you now in the 15th century. There is an old rivalry between Spain and England about who should control the free trade with the New World. King Philip II of Spain decides to resolve this issue once and forever. And he devises a huge legion of warships that historians call the Spanish Armada, and sends them on their way to England. Now, the English are greatly outnumbered in troops, in ships, and even the size of their ships. And it's clear to both parties what the outcome is going to be. The morale of the English troops is very low. Queen Elizabeth I, Queen of England, stands up in front of her troops and delivers a speech that will later enter the books of history as one of the greatest speeches of all time. It is a short speech, but I want to read to you a very short excerpt. Vulnerability. That's what we're discussing. And therefore, I come amongst you at this time, not as for my recreation or sport, but being resolved in the midst and the heat of the battle to live or die amongst you all, to lay down for my God and for my kingdom, and for my people, my honor and my blood, even the dust. I know I have but the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart of a king, and of a king of England too. I don't know about you, but I get goosebumps just reading that. Vulnerability. The battle lasts 9 days. The Spanish Armada is almost completely destroyed. Queen Elizabeth I, vulnerable, an ordinary human being, changes the course of history. Amazing. The second common trait all great speakers have is they're authentic. What does it mean to be authentic? It means to be yourself. It also means to have your own point of view and to not be afraid to express it. It means that you don't conform to common dogma. It means that you're not afraid to be what you are. Once I heard a saying, and I'll remember it forever. It goes like this: don't try to be someone else, because everybody else is already taken. True, right? But remember this: not everybody will like you when you're authentic, when you're yourself. Make peace with that. It's just the way it is. Some people will like you, some people won't. And it's okay. What's important is that everybody will respect you. And you know why? Because you dare to be yourself. That's right. And I learned one final thing. Usually, somewhere within a speech, there is that one moment during the presentation where the speaker suddenly feels the audience tunes in with him. And at this moment he knows he's got them. And for great speakers, this moment comes very early in the speech. For mediocre speakers, it never comes. And I was a mediocre speaker once. 2.5 years ago, I gave a presentation at a spa center. Almost all my audience left before I finished my presentation. And it took me 2.5 years to figure out why. But now I know that I just have to be me, an ordinary human being, vulnerable and authentic. It's a Toastmaster.